What's up, fam? I'm Chappell, host of the Recap Kickback podcast, here for exit interviews for Deal or No Deal Island Season 2. With me, my amazing co-host Jenny Autumn, and the most recently eliminated contestant from Deal or No Deal Island. Once again, welcome back, CK. CK, what's
Thanks,
up?
guys. I've missed you. I feel like this is like old
It's been a
friends. I love
minute.
watching you every week, and I miss talking to you guys.
Yes, and we have a lot to talk to you about. So, CK, we have to talk about last night's episode. Your back was against the wall all season. What did you think about the way your story ultimately comes to an end at the hands of almost to say like the people that you beat to get there?
I just think it's so ironic the way that it ended, right? Like my story, okay, fine. But what about everybody else's? Like, David, you just cut Philip's throat and he's over here helping you. Parvati, Letty, you guys have hated each other the entire time, and all she's done is go after you and you're helping her build her bridge. So, like, what I don't understand is I made the same exact kind of moves as a lot of things that Will did and David did. And, people were manipulative, people lied in the game, people got each other out. I mean, even Dixon helped Letty. She just got him out and blindsided him too. But for some reason, y'all, they hated CK. Like I had to be the one that they didn't help.
I'm really curious because ultimately you end up in that third place position because of the time it took. We don't even get a chance to see what values were in your briefcase. Um, do you feel like, you said it yourself, you were up against Godzilla and Goliath in the final two, like Letty and David are very physical players. Do you
Yeah.
feel like, that you would have had if you had better relationship, like if things between the eliminated players and you were better, could you have beaten their time, or was it the challenge itself, the physical parts of it? Was that going to always be a challenge, whether people were helping you or not?
I really don't think so because you see Letty and David go at it with one another, right? Like even if they helped me, then yeah, my time, especially the rope throwing one, because David got his instantaneously, and then Will got Letty's pretty quickly. So, but Parvati was me; she couldn't help me with that. So no matter what, my time wasn't. But yeah, I don't think relationships really mattered. Like they wanted them to. For me, it did. It was great, entertaining, TV to watch everybody like hate on me, but like nobody sabotaged anybody else. Like Philip could have handed Letty this game and let her win after they worked so hard together, and he didn't do it. So it's
Mhm.
like that really didn't work out the way that it should have because everyone was like, let me just be the nice person, versus like, nah, let me make sure my homie wins.
Had Parvati went up against the banker and did had got a bad deal. Had you get had the chance of going up against the banker, who would you have eliminated? Were you thinking Letty or Parvati?
So that's $1 million question. You know what's funny too? I would have won again. My case number would have been three because it's
Ooh.
my lucky
Hey.
number. And it's the third time I was playing, and it was only $1,000 case. So I would have won again. Um,
Do you play the entire time you're doing it? Like every
yeah,
round, or
I'll
you
sit there
play
and
like,
play.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I do. And Dixon did too, and that's what I think made him and I better at playing the banker than others. When they sat there, they just like kind of went out of my body, out of mind. We were really thinking about the probability of how big certain cases were. They probably weren't again, and like statistically, what the next time we played
Mm,
would look like,
Mm,
and that's why we were both so good at it. So yeah, I would have
smart.
won again, and I would have honestly probably taken out Letty. Like I know I saw like Parvati. They don't show mine and Parvati's relationship quite as much. I was just so mad at Parvati at that point and David. And I was like, I'm not doing your dirty work again. Like, you've been safe every single week, Parvati. Like, if I play right now, it's such bullshit because I'm just helping you like I've helped you the entire time. And you really haven't helped me quite as much in return. So, like, go play the banker because I know that she'll take out Letty too if she wins. So I threatened her with that, just so I know that I was safe no matter what.
At the final five there, when before David eliminates Philip, obviously you didn't have any control over the situation. David got to eliminate someone and then choose who would play the banker, and it seemed like you didn't want to play the banker. What was your ideal final three? Like, what if you had it your way at that stage of the game? Say you had won the challenge instead of David. Like, what was your ideal final three based on that final five that you had there?
It was always Letty and Parvati. Like I think that's why it looks like I'm going back and forth. And what really kind of got me to the end is because I had a pretty solid alliance on each side. It looks like I'm flip flopping, but it's just the alliance I want. is just not in the same alliance.
Hmm.
Parvati touched on it one time in an uncut footage you can see on Instagram, but she called it the Charlie's Angels Alliance. And that was actually me, her, and Letty. I tried so hard to get us together. Those two just really didn't trust each other and were always on opposite sides. But they both know I knew in the game that I had their best interests at heart. It was always Philip and David I was trying to get out. So that's how I was kind of in the middle.
Okay. Yep. CK, I know that you were talking about how tapped in you are during these bankers temples. Does that have something to do with your gambling background, like playing poker and that kind of thing? Tell us a little bit more about that, because maybe that'll help somebody in the future who goes out and plays Deal or No Deal Island season three.
I think so. I mean, that, and I work in math for a living, so I love numbers. I love numbers and probability and statistics. So if you think about it, like when you sit there, okay, try to find the highest case. Say it's eight. The next time you see what eight is, the next time they play, and then see what that number is again. Try to remember where the highest numbers are, and if they are consecutively, because just by pure probability, if one case had say two high numbers in it two times in a row, by the third time you play, it's most likely not going to have a high number in it. You can kind of play the statistics that way of the numbers being chosen.
Okay.
Um, I'm curious. I know this is an episode from last week, but when you and Parvati both drop at the same time during that challenge, we've gotten a chance to kind of hear how that went. But I'd love to hear your take on like what the miscommunication was there. Because it truly seemed like the exact same second you guys dropped. What was going through your head during that particular challenge?
So as you guys see it on TV, it didn't happen that way to where we're like discussing it and talking about it. That actually happened like in the first 10 minutes. They took that clip and that audio and then put it to that.
Mm.
If Parvati would have been beside me like David was, I could have just talked to her about it and I would have let her drop. Honestly, I would have. I felt pretty safe with Parvati and I wanted to go after the 75,000 anyways. It's like really what I wanted. But in my heart of hearts, like I look over there at Philip, I'm like, do you really want this? And he's like, I was like, oh, and then I was like, all right, I want the power anyways. Like I need to make it as far as I possibly can in this game. So as soon as I saw 3 million, I dropped immediately. And then it was like, boom. As soon as I heard my doom, 1 second later, I heard another one. And I look up and I'm like, where did that sound come from? And Parvati had dropped hers right after I dropped mine. And I think it's just two gamers who really wanted immunity and wanted all that power. And that's what me and her share in common. So it really just sucked and it wasn't planned.
CK, the fall heard around the world into the quicksand. I've called you a badass several times
Oh,
this season, but
Appreciate you.
tell me all about the fall? How bad was it? What did we see? What didn't we see?
yeah.
Yeah, that my leg just kind of slipped backwards, and so when it did, boom, my leg hits, and then the rest of me just kind of continues to flip over. Thank God that quicksand was as deep as it was, or I'd, probably be dead right now, considering I landed head first into the ground. But that's not even what hurt. Luckily, my head, none of that hurt when I hit because it was so soft, like I've snowboarded my whole life. It really felt like when you just land in a bunch of snow. That my leg hitting the beam is what hurt so bad. I had a contusion. You see it wrapped for the rest of the
Hmm.
season, like this big on my thigh. So I couldn't really walk. And they gave me painkillers for 2 days in a row. After that, they're like, we can't give you more because we've given you like it's like a shot that they were giving me. But yeah, I mean, I'm tough. Like, if I'm hurt, I don't care. Like, I've been playing sports my whole life, and I've had way worse injuries than that. So in my head, I was like, I don't give a shit. I just got to finish this challenge. I got to get through it. I cannot give up now.
Do you, do you feel like I guess I want to know what your biggest surprise was from playing because obviously you came in like very ready for the probability and the risk taking element of the game and it's awesome to hear about like you're playing Deal or No Deal every single week despite whether you're sitting in the bleachers or not. But what was like the biggest surprise for you in terms of the whole experience that you maybe weren't prepared for?
Honestly, that we just had so many professionals in there. I think I've kind of made it clear that that is what I'm the most disappointed in because it's like, look how far Boston Rob went by himself.
Hmm.
So you can
Yeah.
beat one pro, maybe you can beat two. To beat three of them, it's like, come on, NBC. And we didn't even know about one of them. So it's like Will was such a big shield for Parvati and David for so long. And then I was like, I had to get him out. And then I was like, now I got two more to get out. Like, this is forever, guys. Come on, help us. Like, why do we have so many of them in here? So that was the biggest surprise, is that I didn't know I was playing a newbies versus veterans game when I signed up for this.
But now you're a veteran. Okay. So when you come back to play the next game, I've been seeing interviews. You've been talking about the traders, extracted. What do you think could be next on the horizon for CK? I know there's more.
Yeah, I think traders would be a lot of fun. There's not a lot of money in traders though, and we
Mm-mm,
all know
mm-mm.
that's what I'm
I've
going
been saying
after.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it just seems like a super fun game because of the outfits. You're like in Scotland, and it's like I would totally do that. And I get to meet like housewives, so I would do it for those reasons. But honestly, if there's ever like a Dondi All Stars or veterans versus newbies, like I'm trying to win that $12 million case. That is my goal.
It's funny though because we had a conversation with Seychelle and she was quite keen on the traders idea and I'm just having these images of the two of you meeting again. Let's see if we can work it out in the remix in Scotland. But I want to ask CK about your relationship with Seychelle because obviously you were responsible for her elimination and we see she made you grovel. I'd love to hear a little bit about how that interaction between the two of you went, and do you feel like that impacted your time? Because we were talking about this last night. We're like, how much of the social interactions, how much was that adding to the time? Like, did you having to
Yeah.
grovel, did that really add much to your total there?
I don't think so. Most of my time was in that rope throwing challenge. So you see me like just get it quickly, but one time it got stuck. So I actually had a 30-second like penalty for that, for it to be unwound underneath there. So that challenge is what took the most time. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't care. I would do worse for like that much money, you know? Like, at the end of the day, it's a game. I thought it was funny. It's social, like, whatever. Just help me. I just think it's shitty that she didn't help me afterwards. It's like, come on, dude. Why do you hate me so much? Like, there's a deep passion inside of her of hate towards me. And I do not feel that strongly towards her at all.
When Philip asks you in that moment, or tells you in that moment that he has the highest case, you don't believe him. Why is that? What made you question whether or not he was being upfront with you when he did try to help you?
I actually grabbed it first. Y'all just don't see it. And then Parvati looks at me and goes, I didn't know what that face meant. So I kind of was like, does she know something I don't know? And I went and put it back and grabbed a different one.
Wow. So do you think Parvati
Wow.
was trying to sabotage you in that moment, or
I
just
don't
was it
know. I
just
don't know if she actually knew the highest one or she was like, are you really going to trust this guy? Maybe she meant it. I really don't know what was going through Parvati's head at that time, but that's what made me do it.
Was it to you or was it to Philip kind of to say like she's doing it? Like or did it seem
I don't
aimed
know.
at
She just looked at
you?
me and goes, I was like, what does that mean? Like pointing over at Philip, like, you really believe this guy? And I was just like, so I went back and
Very
switched it.
interesting.
but
Yeah.
the one person who did really step up to help you after hindering you, of course, Dr. Will. What is the relationship now? Where do we stand now with Dr. Will? Because we met up with you halfway through the season and you weren't the biggest fan.
Yeah.
At this point, how do we feel about the evil doctor?
Dr. Will's honestly great. He's not a bad guy at all. He's been very generous and nice ever since we got out of the game. Um, and I actually sent him an appreciation text last night. I was like, you know what? I really needed help at that point, just mentally and emotionally. So I appreciated him helping me in the last moment. And he's just such a gamer. So I think he appreciates the drama that I cause on this show, how much, I impacted the show to be, more popular, I think, just because like all the hate and the drama and the integrity and this and that. He just thinks the whole thing's hilarious. He's such a gamer and it's so fun for him. So he just takes everything so lightly. That's what I really appreciate about Dr. Will.
And where can the people find you and keep up with you and what you're doing on social media?
So CK the Ace, that's my public Instagram. I do have a private Instagram. Some people will find it. No, I will not accept you if you try to follow me there. So stop because I have to keep declining them. But yeah, CK the Ace, you'll find all my poker, all my gambling, and anything new with reality TV.
Thanks, CK.
All right. It
Congrats
was
on
so
a great
fun
run.
watching you guys, Jenny, Chappell. Jenny, you did a great job. I liked when you were like, you can't spell cockroach without CK.
I knew you wouldn't be offended. I knew you wouldn't be
Oh, I
offended.
was like, they can't kill me.
They
Let's
can't take
go.
her out.
Yeah,
All
can't
right.
take me out.
You did great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right, everyone. That was CK, our third placer from Deal or No Deal Island Season 2. To keep up with more of our coverage of Deal or No Deal Island, please remember to subscribe to the We Know Dondi podcast feed for weekly episodes updates and more at WeKnowDondi.com. Peace.
This is RHAP. We Know Reality TV.